Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. We have Alan Mullally joining. We may have other people join as well, but it's specifically around the discussion of Indian captains that have been throughout the years, including the time that Alan Mullally's been involved with cricket, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, we're looking at going back to a period of time when, well, not quite far back as Kapil Dev, but certainly Sachin Tendulkar was a captain through that period. Ganguly was a captain through that period. MS Dhoni, to an extent now, Kohli. Rahane had a period of time. I think even, I'm not sure whether we had any others, but we'll confirm it. There's been a few people in that firing line. So we'll just see. Bahram Irani's online. How are you? I can see you there. But we shouldn't be far away from getting Alan online. He's just warming up. But I guess the most important thing is we've had an incredible set of circumstances with what we've seen with Australia versus the West Indies. That's been remarkable. Chris Gale, 67, some 7 sixes in his innings. Quite an incredible. I can see Barami's bringing up the England made more substitutions during the match. They should have won the Euro 2020. Hi, sorry, going to have to hop on and off. Good on him, Munch. Does that mean you're hopping on and off live, or are you going to be just messaging? I'm not sure. I don't know whether I've sent you the link. Do you want me to send you the link, Munchy? Because I'm getting Alan Mullally to come on in a minute. Just don't know what happened to. I'm just checking whether Munchy. I'm not sure whether you've got the link. If you want me to, Munchy, I can send it to you. There's the link. We'll just give that to you. Marcus Lawrence. I'm not used to saying that. I'm used to saying Munchy. If you want to join Munchy, I'll just send you the link. You can send it to Richard as well. So we're waiting on. Okay, so Munchy can't do it. That's fine. The reality I can see Suman Shastri's there. Everybody says Ganguly is the best captain, but Virat is the best test captain. Interesting. Marnie John says, looks like England playing in England is radio sharp dangerous to anyone, any away team. Okay. So the reality is that there have been a number of Indian captains. We're going to have a look at them closely with the advantage of having someone like obviously having someone like Alan Mullally, who's played through that series. I'll just look up. I'm going to Google now just to who would have predicted Western 3. No, look. Who you said who would predicted 3-0? Didn't you listen to what I was saying, Bahram Irani? I actually said that they would probably lose 5-0, and I think I'm going to be right. The Australian team are disgraceful. They're a hodgepodge mess of people together. What the hell is this? With several players we're talking about. I mean, for example, the keeping situation's a mess. I mean, they've got Alex Carey's been put into the side this week. Josh Philippe, the previous 2 matches. But then the keeper who's actually keeping is opening the batting and batting atrociously. And I don't think should even be in the side. I thought he was dropped from Test format, should be dropped from all formats, I'm sorry to say. And that is, of course, the man who's I've had a name Matthew Wade. What's he doing in the side? I'm confused. Matthew Wade shouldn't be in the side. Josh Philippe should have been given a better go, and he should have been the opener. Alex Carey, even though he looked okay, his career is completely confusing to me. And Matt Wade, as much I saw the name. The whole Australian batting line. Now I've seen the interview and I've posted it on Mitch Marsh. Look, I feel sorry for Mitchell Marsh, but he shouldn't even be there, really. I mean, he's in there because there's a few players out, namely, you would argue, Steve Smith-Warner and perhaps even Mark Stoinis as well, probably players that should be in that side. Mitch Marsh should not be first drop. That's a catastrophic positioning failure. They've just been a complete botch up of the team. Mitchell Stark and Hazelwood have barely played it. I mean, Hazelwood's only played 10, not even 10, a handful of T20 matches. Mitchell Stark's bowled okay in part, but in general he's bowled atrociously. Riley Meredith came in and bowled fast, yeah, but Gale took care of him until he got bored. He scored 7 sixes. Now, Nicholas Pooran, the old stage now, if Munchie was here and Richard Vernon, Reg, our Banstead boy, would be here, he'd be eating his worst. Because over 50, Chris Gale got 67. Dwayne Bravo bowled fantastically. Henry got Pollard on the side. Andre Russell, they've been the champions. Why is not Peter Forrest playing for Australia? That was years ago that he was dumped unceremoniously, as long as with Matthew Renshaw and with obviously Kawaja. They all seem to be banished to Queensland or are from Queensland. So there's a complete catastrophe going on regarding the selections of Australian. They've been imploded for some time, ever since their management, the hubris, arrogant cricket board that got rid of most of them. They basically were pathetic. They've still held up. Mitchell Marsh I feel sorry for him. He must be confused. Batting first drop, even though he batted admirably the first 2 matches, it's just not where he should be batting in the order. He should be batting towards the end as he is an all-rounder, apparently. Matthew Wade shouldn't be keeping. He shouldn't be opening. The batting, he shouldn't be in the side. Aaron Finch, I still have a lot of faith in Aaron Finch. I still think he should be there. Really, Aaron Finch should still be there. I kind of see his point. Moses Enriques, I've got some time for him. In fact, I even think he's captaincy material. Jane Christian, I've got time for him, but they're confused as well. They don't even know where they fit into this side. The bowling and batting line are a schmozzle. There's no understanding. There's no plans. There's no attempt for plans. Josh Philippe doesn't know where he is. Alex Carey doesn't know where he is. Matthew Wade shouldn't be there. I don't know who he's got an influence over, but he was dumped from the test side for atrocious play. His one day in T20 performances are no better. His keeping is not, anything to get raved about. They should be either giving Josh Philippe and or Carey a proper run on this team. And Matthew Wade's just confusing the issue. Only batting atrociously. Keeping is average. He creates should be dumped. There's a complete mess going on. They're getting smashed by the West Indies and Munchie. I predicted that because I knew they would, because they look like a hodgepodge side. West Indies know exactly what they're doing. They've got Trevor Penny, who's actually a great fielding and bowling coach, sitting there telling him what to do. Their fielding is magnificent. Fabian Allen, the way that they Walsh, there's a whole range of great players. Andre Russell, Dwayne Bravo, Chris Gale. They've smashed Australia. Andre Russell smashed them. I think it was the first or second game. Dwayne Bravo's death bowling was fantastic. Chris Gale, 67, 7 sixes. Non-Australians near him. Aussies kind of suck at the 220 league. You can't. The individuals in this team, you can't blame. It's the selection of the team. There's several selections, and I'll go through them again. Matthew Wade out. I would argue that Josh Phillips got off the order. Hazelwood and Stark should stick to test and not play the short format. That's my opinion. Maybe Meredith has got some credit. Ty Richardson's got some credit. There's several other bowlers who probably need a Guernsey. Just simply not. Aussies are fantastic. I'm afraid they're not good at anything at the moment. Yeah, Munchie. Trevor Penny was a great fielder. He was also a great bowling coach, great mentor. He's there with the Sri Lankan team, and he's not Sri Lankan team, the West Indies team. He's doing a fantastic job. People were knocking Chris Gale, Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, and Andre Russell, but they are fantastic. Andre Russell knows exactly. He's played several hundred games. Gale's played over 400, and Pollard played over 500. Chris Gale scored 14,000 plus runs, 22 centuries in T20 format. a huge pile of 50 scores. He's the most prolific scorer by 4,000 runs almost. Second to him is Pollard. Now, so Charlie Malik's there. I think fourth. I can't remember who's offhand his fourth, but it's clearly those players that have got credibility, have got the ones that should be there. That I'm just looking at. We're looking at test captains. Yeah, and so let's not get too. They've been beaten 3-0, and it's probably going to be 5-0, unless West Indies take the foot off the pedal and experiment their play. They're brought in Fidel. It was him that was injured. Bowled well. Obeid, McCoy, Cottrell. They all played well. They've all been trained. They know their plans. They know their place in the team. They've got a steady batting lineup. Australia's got none of that. None of that. Tim Ludeman and Nathan Reid can be a good option for middle order. Well, now we're grabbing at straws. The reality is they should be sticking to people and picking and sticking, but in the right places and the right people. Matthew Wade, out, gone, finished. Should not be playing anymore. Mitchell Starc, Hazel, stick to tests. Really, a lot of time for Zampa. Steiners, when he's obviously fit, he's not here. Chris Lynn, for God's sake, should be in the side. My God, Chris Lynn should be in there by 100 miles. Aaron Finch and Chris Lynn should open the batting. You should have first drop Steve Smith, or maybe you have Aaron Finch and Warner. Lynn first drop, Steve Smith second drop. Then you've got a pretty massive batting order. Then you could bring the likes of Mozon-Riggs in after that. Potentially the keeper of either Josh Philippe or Carey, but I think probably more Josh Philippe. He's been dropped. And then you'll have someone like Dan Christian coming in, then you can have a decent bowling lineup. That adds some stability, maybe obviously the likes of Glenn Maxwell as well. But they got serious problems with their selection. Serious problems. Mitchell Starc, up and down like a yo-yo, stick to test cricket. Hazelwood has only played less than 10 T20 matches. So if the man who's been around for quite a long test career is now only playing less than 10 T20 matches, well, obviously he's not the right. Chris Gale peeled him off with the razor of his hit 18 or 9 of his opening over. Get rid of him out of that format. They're making some serious mistakes. Aaron Finch, I've got some time for him, but he's been dished up a lemon of a side and a mishmash of players. Mitchell Marsh, I'm sorry. Matthew Wade, I'm sorry. Even though Mitchell Marsh did play relatively well, he's not first drop. He's going to be in the side down the order as a bowler and a bat, not first drop. Complete mistake. Obviously, Aaron Finch, Warner, I would pick Chris Lynn at first drop. Then you have Steve Smith. Potentially, then you might put Maxwell in there somewhere with the likes of Mozon-Riggs. Mozon-Riggs deserves to stay there. But it's an absolute mess. It needs to be dissected pretty quickly because they're going to be beaten 5-0. Western haven't even got into first gear. They scored 140 off 14 overs. They would have scored well over 200. They're chasing 140 and they would have scored well over 200 with the grace of ease. They were playing with it. They still had Andre Russell in the sheds there waiting to come out. They were toying with us. Absolutely toying. They put Dwayne Bravo in there. They were toying with us. And of course, Poran batted particularly well. And you've got Hetmeyer hasn't batted either. Oh, they got all funds. They're actually going to go very close to winning the T20 World Cup. West Indies, India, England. West Indies, India, England, and perhaps we might include a New Zealand or even a Pakistan. Then you might consider South Africa, Australia, and Sri Lanka. But that's it. Sri Lanka's well beyond that. But Australia's no better than South Africa. They could be running 6th or 7th, potentially, the way they're playing at the moment. That's what they deserve. I'm not sure what happened to Alan Mullally. I'm just trying to see where he is. Anyway, we're going to talk about Indian captains. It's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I saw Akash Chopra and a few other people have spoken about that. So Indian Test captains. Let's have a look at them. So Okay, well, obviously the big guns of late have certainly been Sourav Ganguly, MS Dhoni, and Virat Kohli, and with Rahane certainly in that mix. Let's just get some of these. So India's test captaincy record. Virat Kohli has the best record. MS Dhoni is at number 2. Team India played 60 matches under the captaincy of Dhoni. During Dhoni's test captaincy period between 08 and 14, the Indian team won 27 test matches while losing 18 with 15 ending up as a draw. Interesting. That's an interesting stat. Yeah, Rahane is probably the calmest of test captains. But I'm beginning to see the need for a bit of a team captaincy going on. What I mean was having a leadership team. Alan Mullally, he should be. I was speaking to Alan for the last hour, by the way, so Alan should be here. So don't ask me questions. It really annoys me when people get on the message bank and keep questioning me things. He'll come when he can. Okay, don't demand, because I won't have anybody on the show if that's the case. Samarth Sastry, stop acting like that. I'm not gonna. Would you like me to delete you from the program? I'm happy to do that, because I don't want to be dictated to. Okay, Alan is meant to be here, and he's not at the moment. But I can't force the person to be on. Not impressed with someone demanding something. So let's have a look at this. So the discussion was around the captaincy, and Alan will bring in his specialty when he comes on. So just bear with it. When it comes, just bringing it up now. Hi, cricket legends. Rohit for ODI and T20s. Well, that certainly has been a discussion point around Rohit Sharma as another potential captain. I think that. So let's look at Indian. I'm just trying to get this up. I want to make sure I got this right. Indian Test captains. Here we go. Okay. We're going back, and we've got a bit of history here. The first ever Indian Test captain, which was in 1932, was Naidu. He was there for quite some time. Let's move to the more current period. Mansur Al-Ali Khan, Chandu Borda, Ajit Wadekar, because then Gallarina was a captain. Sunil Gavaskar had a long period of captaincy as well. Bishan Singh Bedi was there. Gundaba Vishwanath, Kapil Dev. Then Sarkar followed Kapil Dev. Then we had Ravi Shastri for a period between 87 and 88. Then Krish Srikanth was there for a period. Muhammad Azharuddin had some 20. He was the 25th Test captain. Azharuddin then moved into Tendulkar for a period. Then we went to Ganguly. Then from Ganguly went to Rahul Dravid, had a period as captain. Sehwag even had a period as captain. Anil Kumble. And then it went heavily into a period of, well, Kumble was there 07, 08. So really, it went from, let's have a look, it went from the captaincy of Dhoni, went through to Virat Kohli, and obviously Rahane's had a split. So really, it's been, in effect, Ganguly had a long stretch. But then we had Dravid there for a period of time. So in fact, let's just go through this. Let's go back a bit. Go back to Kapil Dev's time. Well, then Sarkar was there for 10 Test matches. Ravi Shastri was captain for 1. Srikanth 4. Then Muhammad Azharuddin had the reins for 47 Test matches. 47. Tendulkar had it for 25. Ganguly had it for 49. So Azharuddin had it for 47, and then we had Ganguly for 49. Dravid had it for 25. Sehwag for Kumble 14. Dhoni had it for 60 matches. And then Kohli so far has had it for 61. So in fact, Kohli's pretty much had the longest captaincy reign in terms of numbers of tests. It's quite an impressive amount, 61 tests, and Rahane's had 5. So there's been a grand total of 551 tests that have occurred. But Kohli with 61 must be, I would argue, the most capped. Let's have a look at that. Obviously, going to one-day captaincy, you've got Dhoni, and Raina had a Gambia had a go. Even Rohit Sharma's had some 10 that he's been the Shah. So even the T20 captaincy is also with Rohit Sharma. So it's an interesting stat. So I'll go through that again. We'll go back. We'll go back as far as Kapil Dev, shall we? Because that's probably about as good a time as we can think of. Well, even Sunil Gavaskar. Sunil Gavaskar had that for 47. So Sunil had it for 47. Bedi for 22. Vishwanath for 2. Kapil Dev had 34. Mensaka had 10. Shastri had 1. Srikanth had 4. Then Azharuddin had a very long stint of 47. Tendulkar had it for a fair 25. He only, would you believe, only one. He doesn't have a great record, actually, Sachin Tendulkar as a test captain. In fact, Gavaskar had 47 and he had 9 wins, 8 and 30 draws. But in the case of Kapil, had only 4 wins. In the case of Mohammad Azharuddin, he had 4. Mohammad Azharuddin had 14 wins and 14 losses, so his record wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, Tendulkar had a pretty ordinary record: 4 wins, 9 losses, and 12 draws. So 16% was his. It's not a very good rating, actually. 25, only 4 wins. Ganguly actually won 21 Test matches in these 49 tests as captain. Drew 15, lost 13. So he's 43, almost 43%, quite a good average. Rahul Dravid won 8 out of his 25. Sehwag won 2 out of his 4. Kumble won 3 out of his 40, not a good record. Mahendra Singh Dhoni won 27 out of his 60, so he is the best at this point, 45% out of his 60. Virat Kohli's won 36 out of his 61, so he has the best at 59% winning record as captain. Now, we have to put that in. People are knocking Kohli, but he's captained the most times for India at 61. He's had 36 victories. 36 out of his 61, a 59% ratio of victories, which is literally the best. Well, Ajinkya Rahani's had 5 matches. He's won 4 and lost 1. He's got an 80% record. That's brilliant. There's only 5 matches. So effectively, Kohli's 60 is captain for the most, 61 test matches. He's won the most with 36. So he's not to be sneezed at. We've got to put that in perspective. Okay, so in terms of who should play number 3, the T20 World Cup, that's a bit different to the Test cricket arena, of course. If they stick to Rohit Sharma and perhaps Virat Kohli, if that's the opening pair they keep to, or they bring Gill in, I would argue that Samson's probably not going to be the one first picked, but Surya Kumar Yadav will probably be ahead of that. They've also got Shreyas Iyer floating around us all. But Virat Kohli, 59.01%, that's correct. 59.02% wins in tests, that's correct. He's won 61 test matches, he's won 36, lost 15, and drew 10. So it's a pretty damn good breakdown, actually. It means he's only lost, out of 61 matches, he's had a win or a draw out of 46 of them, and he lost 15, which is, 2/3 in his favour. So it's a brilliant record. I don't know what happened to just see what Alan's coming. Just asking whether he's coming. So yeah, Virat Kohli's record is, so we're knocking him for quite a bit now. You joining up? You joining?
Yeah.
Join on the link. Join on the link I sent you. Yeah, so, look, so let's make that very clear. Kohli's played the most matches as captain, 61, beating Dhoni by 1. He got 60. He won 27 and drew 15. So he had 42 of his 60 were wins or draws, whereas Virat Kohli's 46 out of 61. So Kohli would argue on record as a more winning captain. Really, there's no one anywhere near. I mean, really, Ganguly had a very good record, very close to in his 49 matches. Tendulkar had an atrocious record. Azharuddin had a pretty average record, although it wasn't horrific. He drew a lot of matches. Ravi Shastri had one test match, one vid, therefore that was 100%. What's this darkness?
Can you find me? I'm in bed. I'm cold.
I was in bed a minute ago.
Give me a second. I'm watching a film. It's a bloody great film called Lawless. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
That
If you don't want to join, Alan,
is that too bright?
Looks good.
Is that too bright? That's better. Don't worry.
Put a hat on if your hair's messy. My hat's all done.
You right, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm happy to be on air. I was looking through. Virat Kohli has won the most tests as an Indian captain.
Oh my lord, is that right?
He's won. Virat Kohli has won. I've got it all written up here. Virat Kohli has won 36 test matches as captain out of 61. His percentage rate is 59%.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, it's the best. It's the best effort for an Indian. It's the best effort for an Indian.
I'll get over a cough. Yeah, I would say
it's the best for an Indian captain.
It's got my captains covered.
I mean, we can go through the England captains, but
Stuart.
Who did you face in terms of India? You would have had Tendulkar, Dravid, Azharuddin too.
Leg stump. Who was my favourite batsman to bowl against?
Lara.
Norman, you know this? Come on.
Lara.
And the other one?
Tendulkar.
Yep.
He had a pretty ordinary captaincy record.
At the top of the list would be Slater.
But Sachin had on the basis of captaincy, though, he had an atrocious captaincy record.
Who's Sachin?
Yeah, he wasn't a captain.
Well, when you wake up in the morning and you've got like 1.4 billion people going, hello, Sachin, what can you do for me today? It gets a bit tricky, I dare say.
No, it's pressured. I mean, he was captain for 25 test matches and won only 4 matches, lost 9 and drew 12.
And that is where me and you, Norman, his go with his COVID stuff disappears and the depression of the whole shebang to India with all contacts, and we'll show them how you do things properly. I watched a video the other day with Muslim at the Oval. I played that game. It swung in, reversed, and went the other way. And that was plum. Oh, my Lord.
He didn't play in that time that I've just mentioned. Tendulkar never captained against England. He never captained against England, so you never experienced him as a captain.
No, I didn't. I was too busy.
But he
I was too busy experiencing Sachin as a batsman, wobbling at all parts. But what a great guy! What a lovely, lovely guy.
Oh, I know he's a lovely guy. But yeah, I mean, Ganguly had 21 victories out of 49 tests and 15 draws and only lost 13. So he's not bad, 42%. Dravid, pretty ordinary. Sehwag doesn't really count. Kumble, very ordinary. Dhoni had 27 with 15 draws, lost 18. But yeah, Kohli's had the best. He's had 36 victories against countries. 36. It's pretty good.
Not too bad. Oh, my Lord.
he's had a pretty good percentage of results. Ajinkya Rahane had, well, he has had only 5 matches where he's captain, but he's won 4 of them. And hasn't actually lost a test match as captain, effectively. So when did India beat England when you were playing for them?
We won. 96.
We won? 96?
I'm not going to brag, but Sachin Tendulkar, right, said
Yeah.
I had the fastest bouncer he ever faced, right?
Yeah.
And Dravid said I was the hardest back bowler to face against. There you go.
Yep. It looks as though there were 3 matches.
I can't be on here for too long, Norman, because Mum's dead with the flu.
Oh, okay. I'll just so in '96, England, they played you in 3 test matches. They lost 1 and they drew 2.
Yeah. Hey,
and you were a bowler.
Norman.
And Azharuddin was a captain.
Forget this COVID-19. That's just rubbish. I know you're going through whatever. Research, right? As you know.
Who?
J-U-E-N-E, you know. Oh, here comes it. The reason being, have a listen. It's buckling down.
Yeah, all right.
So, Genu Yachts. Google that one.
Okay, what's that?
Well, it's a yacht. Genu, they're French.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
I was going to buy one when I retired from Hampshire. But obviously, yeah, that's a private thing. Genu, I think it's J-E-U-E-N. Genu French yacht. They're about 36-50 feet.
That's a yacht that we're going to get. We're going to travel with.
Yeah. There's Genu and there's they're French. There's Genu and there's a J. Genu.
Right.
So the game plan is, in time, I would then sail it from here to Sydney, pick you up to Fiji.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Would you up for that? Would you be up for that?
Well, England are playing. Oh, for sure I will be. Now today we've got England playing. England are playing today, by the way.
Yeah. I find it hard to watch, just because there's nobody there.
Why do you find it hard to watch? Well, Pakistan are actually 1 for 86 at the moment.
I feel really sorry for the Pakistan team.
Why is that?
Oh, well, think about it. They can't play in their own backyard. They go to Dubai. I wish I could get the whole lot. Go, come and live with me in Perth. I'll train you up Jacob's ladder. Let's go and have some fun and bowl fast and play cricket. They do really well. They do bloody well.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, all right. Well, thanks, Alan. If you can't, you're in darkness.
Hang on.
We've got some darkness here, guys. Also, Ireland versus South Africa. Yes, I'm aware of that, Barama Rani. Ireland versus South Africa, I'm afraid.
Just bear with me. Just bear with me.
Sure. The England, will England win today? Well, at this stage, it's hard to say because obviously the score's quite heavily in favour. They're 1 for 94 to 23. They're not batting too badly, Pakistan, for once. So, actually, let's have a look at the situation there.
Okay.
So England won the toss. So You're not saying you're into watching it all. You're saying that you don't want to watch. What did you say? What did you say there? Hang on, I got a question. What do you got here? All right. What do you sent me? I've got it now. Okay. What's that? That's this is funny. This some untrust just want to have a go at Alan. Won't get upset. You won't get upset at the fact that England got beaten by Italy, would you? It's going Rome. You're not upset by that, are you?
No. Did you get that photo?
Yeah, I got that photo. It's very funny. Very, very funny.
Do you know her?
I think it's a very funny photo.
Norman.
Yeah.
Norman. Yep. Did you know her?
What?
That yacht, right? I was going to buy that when I was back in England, but obviously things changed. I can't stop laughing, Norman. Did you know her?
They haven't shaven.
Did you know her? The yacht's called You Know Her. Did you know her? Did you know her?
You know, Pakistan are doing very well. They're 1 for 102 at the moment against England after 24 hours. It's a pretty good start.
Hey, Norm, what time is it now? About what, 11:42?
It's 11:42. Yes, it is.
How about you put your feet up, buddy?
All right, I will. You say goodbye because I've dragged you out of bed, but the captaincy, as far as comes,
I do this because I love you and I want to speak to you. And now, Indian followers, and once we get past the COVID bizzo, and in a year's time, we'll laugh and joke. We'll buy that yacht called the Juno. We'll sail it from Perth to India to see our fans.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
That would be fantastic. Don't you reckon? So laugh.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. I'm happy with that.
I like this thing. DBA, Norman. Dream, believe, achieve.
What?
Dream, believe, achieve.
Dream, believe, achieve. I like that. I like that.
You dream it, you believe it, you can achieve it. No matter where you come from.
Yeah.
Right, Norm, got to go.
All right, Alan, thank you for coming on.
Ciao.
Mullally. All right, you take care.
And have a shave,
all right,
man.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan's a bit up and down, and that's fine. We can talk about this. So, an unchanged England have gone and have chosen after winning the toss to bowl, but have put Pakistan in, and they're 1 for 105. So, it wasn't exactly what I would call a convincing start to the match for them at all. But yeah, there is also the game between Ireland and South Africa. Ireland have scored 5 for 290 after their 50 overs. The pick that Alan didn't send me a penny is some sort of medical thing he sent me. It's nothing to do with what we were talking about. Please stop and pick me up from. I'll get beers. Okay. When you're out on the boat, yeah, we'll do that. Alan, my question for you: why are England fans so weird? Why can't they accept their loss? Well, look, their behaviour was unacceptable, but European behaviour with soccer is unbearable throughout the whole of Europe, whether it's a French audience, an English audience. It's quite bad all around the world, I must say. So it's not just... So yes, Pakistan have got a very good chance. They're currently 1 for 106. And they got Fakhar Zaham's just coming to the back. He's on 54. Imam Al-Haq, who opened the batting. This is open the batting score. Live, what with the live there? The scorecard. So Imam Al-Haq is... Baba Azam is not at 46. And so that's the difference. The big difference is Baba Azam is batting well in 46. That's quite a significant difference. Eman Al-Haq is with him on 54. Fakao, who's been relied upon up until now, is batting. He got out for 6 by Crawley off the move. But quite frankly, it's a pretty consistent batting performance here by Pakistan, and could well put a bit of a challenge up for England. England, of course, have taken the lead with the first 2 matches. Just a chip minority, unfortunately. Eastern Europe also has a lot of racism issues as well. Yeah, much. It's not just simply England. It's the French. There's a lot of countries. I mean, Russian crowds aren't exactly 100%. There's a lot of dissension throughout the world in cricket, I must say. Very much so. But yeah, 1 for 111, Pakistan against England. We as I said earlier, Australian match versus West Indies. Now West Indies have gone 3-0 with 2 left. I can see them beating Australia by even more the next few matches. Again, my team I'd have Matthew Wade out of the equation. Between Carey and Philippe, one of those two have to also be out. I'd say it's probably going to be Carey. Philippe wasn't given a fair chance. He should be opening in the temporary position, because obviously when Finch returns with Warner, you'll have those two opening. And I think Chris Lynn should be first drop, followed by Steve Smith, then followed by Glenn Maxwell, then potentially the likes of a Ozone Reeks onto a Dan Christian, with perhaps Philippe then as keeper batting low in the order. So they've got that sort of time for Langer to get sacked, and Clark or Ponting should be appointed. Not Michael Clark, no. Ponting potentially. Well, Andrew McDonald seems to be the one they're grooming, and I'm not convinced he's necessarily the right one either. I'd bring in Trevor Bayliss if I had my opportunity. Looks like the bunny with drained batteries. He's not suited to bowl short form anymore. I don't think he should be sticking to the test format and bowling less often. Hazelwood has not played for most of his career as a T20 bowler, shouldn't be in there. Pat Cummins is probably the only one that would legitimately be picked at this point. Good to have you back, Banster Boy. Where are you? You obviously on a break. I had Alan Mullally on before, so if you want to come on now, Banster Boy, you can. But I'm talking about, you must be watching the Australia-Pakistan match, and Pakistan are holding a good account for themselves with some 1 for 113 now after 25 overs, so they're well on the way to a good total, with both opener and first drop going past 50, so it certainly is good. Saqib Mahmood has bowled 5 overs, 1 for 14, bowled well. The rest are not bowling really as well. Why is Australia becoming the next Sri Lanka? Probably very similar reasons. The administration of Sri Lanka was shot. The Australian administration is also shot. The reality is that Australia have got this mixed set of messages as to who they select. Matthew Wade was done from the test ownership, done from all arenas. He's way past his best. Is not the player. And it's also his attitude that's wrong, but he's around the team. Josh Philippe and Alex Carey should be the keepers, but it looks like Josh Philippe will probably be the one that I think should be selected. But yeah, well, Steve Smith's not there. Warner's not there. Glenn Maxwell's not there. Their preferences have been IPL, of course. Chris Lynn hasn't been there, but Chris Lynn should be the one I think that's missing from that upper order. Be better first drop would be fantastic. He'd have the same assertion as what Chris Gale did with his 67 with 7 sixes. And man's turning 42 this year and is batting better than any of the young'uns. And Barnstable, you're not online, but you should make comment of that. The fact that the old guys, Bravo, Andre Russell, Gale, smashed Australia. Is cricket more popular than soccer in Australia? It is still. Soccer has a great deal of strength, but not necessarily. Well, Ravi Shah should continue as coach. I think he should. He's been very, very good for them. But don't forget, Virat Kohli's record, 61 test matches, 36 have been wins. 36. Let's just go back to that still. I've got it here somewhere. Yes. So Kohli's test record is, Ganguly's is 49 with 21 wins, 15 draws. Sindoni's got 60 with 27 wins. But Kohli, 61 with 36, he's drawn 10. So 46 of the 61 matches he hasn't lost. Yeah, they've been a national disgrace and embarrassment, but I do think it's not just purely the English. A lot of European sides have also equally has been disturbing. It was very unfortunate the way that they've gone about their business. But I saw South Africa, they're looting in all the shops in Johannesburg. I've been sent videos about the atrocious conditions there, so it's not unique to that at all. At all. Yeah, so there's a fair bit going on in the world of cricket. What about Tom Moody as Australia's head coach? It should be Tom Moody should not be the Australian coach. Full stop. He had a lot to do with the problems apparently in the IPL. Trevor Bayliss should return to Australia and be our coach. He's done fantastically well with England. His stints with Sri Lanka and the IPL teams has been absolutely phenomenal. He would know Australian cricket better than anyone, would be the right person to bring back. I would argue Trevor Bayliss should be our coach post Justin Langer. But Langer's surrounded by people like Gillespie and Ponting, I believe. That they're probably quite likely to be good options, both of them. But Michael Clark, someone mentioned, oh no, that's a mistake. Ian Healy's not a coach, but he may be a keeping coach. Gary Kirsten was trying to coach, no. Gary Kirsten did brilliantly well with India and I think South Africa, but no, we don't want a South African coach necessarily. We've got people there. We've got, I think, certainly Trevor Bayliss would be one that I would pick if available. Absolutely, would pick him without a fear. Would certainly pick Vera Kohli's. Got to remember Vera Kohli's captaincy record is, I never looked at it that much, but 61 Test matches. So he's the most capped captain India have ever had. He's won the most Test matches of any Indian captain. So it's pretty strong. Well, can't afford Australian cricket to go down. Well, West Indian cricket went down and we survived. England cricket went down at one stage and we survived. So Australian cricket's got to go down. It'll survive. More concerning is if Indian cricket goes down, then we'll have some serious problems. But Australia needs to have a down period. West Indies did. England did. No, I don't think it's so unusual. We work, live, eat, live and act, play people from every background and culture every day of our lives in this country. Racism is just nonsense. We all are all the same. I think that's true. I don't know whether the English fans are racist. It's just they lost the world. They lost the Euro 2020, whatever it's called. They lost it. They were cranky. And they got drunk. Who was the most capped Test captain ever? Well, that's a good question. I'm going to check that up right now because I don't think. Well, Kohli's on 61. That's pretty damn good. Most capped Test captain ever. Graham Smith, captain for South Africa for 109 matches, Border for 93, Fleming for 80, Ponting for 77. So there your top four. Smith, 109, Border 93, Fleming 80, Ponting 77. So Kohli's has reached 61, so he's certainly going up there. In fact, he's in fact ranked the 6th most capped captain. And he had more wins than Border. He has more wins than Fleming. It's only Smith and Ponting that are ahead of him on this list, and Steve Waugh is 47. Yeah. So in fact, Steve Waugh, captain for 57 matches, won 41, lost 9, never tied a match. No, that's not right. He drew a match 7, drew 7 matches, correct. So Clive Lloyd, okay, so Graham Smith on 109, that's quite it, and he won 53 at a 48% percentile ratio. Border played 93 as captain, but only won 32 of them, so he didn't have as high a record. So Kohli's done better than Border. Steve Waugh's quite amazing. Steve Waugh had 41 victories. So Clive Lloyd and Kohli both have the same number of victories. West Indies at their heyday, don't forget. Lloyd was captain for 74 matches. only lost 12, whereas Coley's lost 15. Had 26 draws. They had quite a few draws, and whereas Coley's only had 10. But they both won 36 matches as captains, so that's pretty impressive. So he's 61 at the moment. He's 74 is what Lloyd has got. So again, Graham Smith with 109, Border with 93, Fleming with 80, Ponting with 77, Lloyd for 74. Then we moved to Coley with 61. So that's effectively captain more than what Donny did, more than Cook, more than War. Arjun Chonga didn't have a great record, but so effectively, Ganguly was up there too. So the sixth most capped captain in the world was Coley. Sixth. He's got people like Smith, Border, Fleming, Ponting, and Lloyd in front of him. And really, he only has to go past, really, he's got 16 test matches. And if he wins 10 out of the 12 out of the 16, okay, so Richard will be on tomorrow. So Virat Kohli is sixth most capped captain. Now, he probably won't reach 109. I don't think he will, but he certainly will go well up that list. He'll probably go past Lloyd and Ponting. He needs to be another 15, 16 tests. So he's going to have 5 very shortly, and he's going to have another 2 in New Zealand. So that's 7. And then a series of 4 odd against South Africa. I think it's 4. So that'll put him up around. He'll be up around. Compare Clive Lloyd with Coley. Surely no comparison. Well, let's go through it. Clive Lloyd has captained for 74 Test matches, won 36. Coley's 61 for 36. So they've got the same amount of wins, but Coley's captained for 13 less Test matches. So Coley's actually come straight up there with Clive Lloyd in Test matches anyway. Clive Lloyd lost 12. Coley's lost 15. So Lloyd's lost less matches, but he drew 26 matches as opposed to Coley only drawing 10. And in terms of percentage of wins, Coley has 59%. Ponting had 62%. War had 71%. I'm looking through the list there. I think you'll find that the best winning percentage with a significant number of matches is definitely Steve War with 71%. And then followed by Ricky Ponting with 62. Third is Coley, 59. So realistically, Coley's. No, but I don't know whether we need to look at home and away percentages, Munchie, because we've got to be fair that it's reasonably balanced, okay? And Coley's won away from home, as we know. So I would argue that that's a pretty Graham Smith is at the top of it. He had gems of Test cricket. Amla, David Villiers, well, he did, but so did Australia and so did India. Stephen Fleming's average was 35% win. He won out of his 80 Test matches. He won 28, lost 27 with 25 draws. So it was, so he had a actual percentage win of 35%. But Ponting had 48 wins out of his 77 with 16 losses. So look, Coley's record of winning 36, he may not go past Steve War and Ponting in terms of percentage wins. He's only 3% behind Ponting, but still have something opposite them. That's some pretty good records there. That really puts him third best percentages. He's sixth most capped captain, and will probably go past a few of them. Will probably reach the top 3 or 4. It's pretty damn good. Holly's record standing up pretty good. I tell you, he's the highest subcontinent captain, with South Africa, 2 Aussies, and New Zealand and a West Indian in front of him. He's the highest subcontinent captain by far. Even Lara had a period of captaincy. His winning rate was only 21%. Gavaskar was 19. Michael Clark had 51. He was only captain for 47. Azruddin had 29. Ganguly 42. Michael Vaughan had 50. Cronje had 50. Misbah al-Haq, pretty good effort, really, 46. Cook had 40. Donny had 45, but Coley's had 59%. And ADI's World Cups now lost their favour a little bit. Well, the advent of T20 and what? Yeah, I think you're right. And earlier, the ODI World Cup winner was considered as the best team for those 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I mean, look, since the advent of T20 and Test cricket returning, ODIs have become a little bit weird to me. I'm not as big a fan of them, to be honest. I probably prefer T20 over 50 over, to be honest, if I'm going to be really honest. But I'm very impressed with some of these records. Graham Smith, 109. He's won 53 Test matches. He's won more Test matches than anyone else as a captain. 53. But Coley has already won 36 now. If he goes on for another 20 or 30, he could easily go close to 50. Could well become. He's got 17 more Test matches to win to then put himself in the category of the most winningest captain. Now that's very possible. He's got 7 Test matches. He's got 5 against England and 2 against New Zealand, and then 4 against. That's 11 right there. That'll put him up to, if he captains all of them, which he's likely to do, he'll be up around at 72. Then he'll be very close to Lloyd's record in terms of numbers of matches. Steve Smith. What's Steve Smith's record? Williamson's got a percentage rate. I didn't take that into account. Williamson's only been captain for 37 matches. He's won 22 and lost 7, and lost 8 and drawn 7. So his average is 59.45. So he's 0.44 above Coley, but he's only played 37 matches. Okay, so that tells me that what's wrong with Steve Smith is on the ranking. Steve Smith's got 52%. Pollock had 53. John Brearley, interesting, had 58. John Brearley, who were there when the likes of course, Ian Botham was in. John Brearley was captain for 31 matches, won 18, lost only 4 matches, drew 9. That's an astounding record. That is probably one of the best records, and he was a great captain, as we know. John Brearley, clearly a great success. But Coley's is certainly stacking up. Certainly, Brearley was on 58. Even Brearley, who was an excellent captain, didn't have the 59%. Coley has now. Williamson certainly has got it as well. He's got 59.45. So, really, Coley, if he next 7 Test matches, 11, let's call them, wins more than half of them, which he's bound to. He's bound to win more than half of them. He will probably beat New Zealand at home. He'll probably beat South Africa and will do quite well against England. He could well be, right up there. It'll be 11. He'll be up around 72 Test matches, just behind Clive Lloyd 74. So he's currently 6. He could easily creep into the top 3. It's quite astounding. I didn't think this would be the case, but 59% of it keeps that average up. He's 3rd best on the averages, or 4th if you include Williamson. 4th. We were knocking about his captaincy. Donny's winning average is 45%, still very commendable, but he's played 1 Test less than Coley as captain. He's only won 27 of his 60 as opposed to 36 that Coley won. So he's won some 9 Test matches more. He's lost 3 more and drawn 5 more. Absolutely not. Not a chance. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Individual is an excellent tackle, so let him be in the side, not be captain. Is a psychologist, wrote an excellent book, The Art of Captaincy, and he was right up there. He got 58%, but he still didn't get beaten by Coley. Coley's got a pretty bloody good record. Coley keeps playing. In the next 11 Test matches, which is into the 70s, and keeps his percentage rate up. He will go. I mean, he'll probably go about 3rd on the list of most wins as a captain. That's pretty impressive. Well, there is more chance than me captaining. Thank you very much. I think Labuschagne can be. Absolutely not. He's not captain at any level of cricket in his entire life. You don't make someone captain of his first cricket team when he's playing for Australia. That's bollocks. I don't want to even hear that. It's not going to happen. APR, no way. But it is interesting, some interesting stats there. With Coley up on 59%. There's only Ponting on 62, and Steve Waugh had 71%, who is also known to be the best captain, and that's pretty indicative of captaincies actually. That those two are the. I want to see with Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor must be there somewhere too. Richie Beno, 42%. Pollock, 53%. Mark Taylor, where's Mark Taylor in this list? And Mark Taylor, for example, he was Test captain for 50 Test matches. He won 26, lost 13, and drew 11. So he had an average of 52%. Mark Taylor had 52%. So, but Coley's at 59%. It's only Ponting and Waugh that's in front of. Even Border, with he played for a hell of a lot, 93 Test matches, only had a 34% winning chance. Quite low, but he did captain for a long time. But Graham Smith, 48% after 109 tests, 53 Test match wins, 27 draws. So he actually, 80 of his matches, he didn't lose out of his 109. He lost 29. That's a pretty good record, considering how many matches he was captain for. Very good record. Clive Lloyd lost 12. He's one of the lowest of the top lot, but he did draw a lot of matches. He drew 26, which is quite an astounding amount. Coley's only drawn 10, which is pretty damn good. I'm shocked by Munchkin getting on the show. He's busy working, he reckons. He's having a pretty. Can he break Gale's record in T20 cricket? Well, it's going to be pretty hard because the closest one to him at the moment is Pollard. He's 4,000 away. Coley's on 9,000 on. He might have a chance if he keeps going, but brilliant record by no, it's a joke. Yeah, that'd be nasty. Tim Lewin in the place of Wade. No, I've got more time for Josh Philippe actually. John Christian Prophet. I'm here after seeing collaboration video on Sri Harsha. Now I'm a fan of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Kapil Verma, what is Team India's approach to the T20 World Cup 2021? I think that India have to keep a stable team, as per any of the sides. India has to keep a stable team going into it and be cool and calm. They'll smash it. It's going to be India, England, and certainly the West Indies. Certainly the West Indies, and then potentially India, England, New Zealand, West Indies. India, England, New Zealand, West Indies are my four, with Pakistan coming up at fifth. Sixth, I would argue, at the moment, South Africa / Australia, with Sri Lanka and then the rest, Bangladesh and whoever else is in there. That's the way I look at it. Even Afghanistan have got a bit of chance. But I'm just really intrigued by this captaincy. I didn't really look at it before that closely. But Steve Waugh, in his 57 Test matches, only lost 9 Test matches and only had 7 draws. He was very much win or result oriented. I think 71%. It's quite incredible. The win-loss record of Coley is 2.4. Lloyd was 3. Ponting was 3. But Steve was 4.55. So Ponting and Lloyd got 3. Coley's behind at 2.5. That's a win-loss record. But that's barest of margins. It's really so the best win-loss record was definitely Steve Waugh. And then you'd have to go for Lloyd and Coley. Lloyd and Ponting, sorry. Let's go down a bit further. Even Williamson's got 2.75. He's pretty much up there with what Coley's got. Ian Chappell had a record of, he only was captain for 30 matches, won 15, lost 5, brilliant, drew 10, and his average was 50%. Pretty good. And you got Pollock had a pretty good record too. Yes, I mean, it certainly is. Bobby Simpson was a pretty well known. He only had a 30% record. Wins 12 losses. With 15 draws, it's quite a heavy amount of draws. But no, there's no. Coley's up in the top 3 or 4 captains ever. Really, you'd only argue that there's War, Ponting, Lloyd, and Coley. Very impressive in terms of percentages. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. So Lloyd's record with Coley, fairly similar. Coley's won more games. Coley's won exactly the same amount of games as Lloyd, but 13 less test matches. I think, arguably, Coley's record's right up there with Lloyd. Right up there with Lloyd. Only 16% of Clive Lloyd's matches were losses. Coley's are 24%. There is a difference there. But Lloyd drew 26 matches. That's quite a lot of draws, actually. Link to join with you, Capel Verman. No, I'm not going to be joining you. Okay, Capel, he's not going to bring anyone on the show. Yeah, not just anyone. AP Gunner, don't make comments on my behalf. You just don't bring random people on. I've got to know who you are. In all fairness to me, no Samson Records captain will be poor, but he turning on around fighting and screaming, set the groundwork for the Vaughan. Yeah, that's true. No competition to Steve Waugh. No, Steve Waugh was it. Zach Lehman, Zono, Dean, Nathan Reed are still playing. Okay. The reality is that, we have a situation here where Michael Vaughan had a pretty good. Michael Vaughan had a 50% record. He was only captain 51 test matches, 126, lost 14. Sorry, lost 11, and drew 14. So Coley's record is right up there in the top 5 captains ever. Again, number 1 was Steve Waugh by a country mile. 2 was Ponting. Then you had Lloyd and Coley on the same breath with Williamson. And then Brearley would come up the rear from there. And then you maybe have Ian Chappell and people of that nature. Arjun Ranchunga, despite being a pretty notable ODI captain, out of his 56 test matches, only won 12 test matches, lost 19 and drew 25. So he had a pretty average 20-odd%, which was not. Misbah Huck's very impressive. He won more than he lost. Misbah Huck won 26 matches and lost 19, so he distinctly had a better performance. But Steve Waugh, 41 wins, 9 losses. That's brilliant. But 36-15 is Coley's record. That's brilliant too. I mean, really, Coley is going to be playing for at least, I'm going to guess now, at least another 20 tests as captain. He's looking down the barrel of 11 before the end of the year, and would likely to captain next year, and therefore captain half a dozen to a dozen matches. So he will probably go into at least 3rd spot of overall test captaincies by a player, which is brilliant. Only Border and Smith will be ahead of him, and is likely to then go very close to being, again, the most test wins as a captain is Graham Smith, followed by Ricky Ponting with 48. Then after that, I'm just trying to see if there's anyone else. And that's pretty much it. That's Peter May had 20. Waugh had 41. So the top Smith, followed by Ponting and Steve Waugh. They're the top 3 test winningest captains. Then you got Lloyd and Coley together. So that's Smith, Ponting, Waugh. And then you'll have Coley with Lloyd, and Coley's obviously going to get past him when he wins one more test. So Smith, Ponting, Waugh. So Coley's 4th most. He's in the top 5 for almost every category of captaincy you can get, percentage-wise, wins, number of matches, everything. He's highly ranked, and it's but you can't say, we're talking about Test cricket here. Talking about Test cricket now. He's your most winningest captain ever for India by far. Am I joking about who? 40 wins out of 40. No, as captain, Steve Waugh, as captain, he was captain for 57 Test matches in his career. 41 of them he won, and lost 9 and drew 7. Absolutely correct. That's a phenomenal record. Just shows how good Steve Waugh would have to, and he's been rated the best captain ever, and you'd have to agree. He is. Border and Ponting certainly up there as well. So Australian captains are probably the best. Right? Ian Chappell was there as well. But a worldwide, Clive Lloyd's certainly up there. Graham Smith is certainly up there. Fleming certainly gets a Guernsey. But Donny, of course. But Coley can't be knocked for his captaincy. 61 Test matches. And has anywhere, could easily be captain for at least another couple of years at the very least, which will see him around 80 odd. And that will put him up there on all sorts of categories of lists. So he's got 11 matches coming up very shortly as captain. We'll see how he goes. Well, he's the most capped Indian captain, that's for sure. And the best percentages of wins, the best percentages, most capped for India, the most percentages of wins, the most wins. He can't be called anything other than the best captain India have had. Ganguly, I would have classified to be the best. He had 49, 21. So he had 42%. He lost 13 matches, Cotters off 15, but he won only 21 and drew 15. So Ganguly's right up there, but he's not statistically the best. Yeah, but you can't say that alone. His captaincy was a major part of it. Better than showing for the T20 World Cup. Better than Ishant Sharma, probably. Okay. Yeah, there's no doubt that that's a very interesting set of stats. Very interesting set of stats. I'm quite impressed, actually, with Kohli's record. Is a lot better than what people have been giving him credit for. I'll tell you right now. Can we talk on the show tomorrow about West Indies versus Australia, please? We certainly can. We should talk about England versus Italy as well. But yeah, your West Indies Australia comment, Dan, so you said that West Indies week, the old codgers would be beaten by Australia. Well, I'm afraid that's complete opposite of what's actually happened. Yeah, West Indies Aussies still got 2 matches left. Let's look what's happening in this Test match here now. Pakistan got 2 for 164. Looking pretty good to me. Babar Azam 77 not out. He's showing his form now. It certainly is. You would argue that there's pretty damn good performance going on here. Babar Azam's on his way. Looks very, very good indeed. Yeah, Ireland, there's nothing to sneeze at with Ireland. They've got a great deal of potential. They're knocking on the door of the top 10 places up, definitely, if not already are. No, Lehman's in the same boat as Warner and Smith. He won't come back. Well, they won. You can still how much you want, Banstead boy. Chris Gale 67 with 7 sixes, and he smashed Hazelwood out of the attack in the first over. Disgraceful. Hazelwood, no wonder he hasn't played more than 9 or 10 T20s. He shouldn't be there. He's stick to Test cricket, pal. So this is actually, I need to record this. This is actually my 596th video and my 181st live. There you go. was economical, but he's just out of his depth with T20 cricket. I think he's past his best. Pat Cummins is the only fast bowler should be in the side. They should be bowling with a better form of bowler. Maybe Riley Methodist, probably Corey Moore. He looked okay in part, but they got Gale also in for 2 sixes. Can't let everybody for 2. Okay, which I'm not supporting the IPL and why? Well, I've always been a Kolkata Knight Riders fan because I like Kolkata. That was my connection to Kolkata. Mumbai Indians, obviously, they've done well. But this season, it was always going to be Delhi Capitals for me because of Rishabh Pant and the inclusions in their side that look very balanced. I still think Rishabh Pant's team, that is Shreyas Iyer's team, Delhi Capitals will win the IPL when they play their last 31 matches coming up next 2 months' time. That would be my thoughts. Rajasthan Royals. Well, they have severely depleted side, as we know. They lost Ben Stokes, which would have been Stokes can play again, but they haven't played well at all. They look very sorely beaten, to be honest. That's my thoughts on Rajasthan Royals. One of the questions I had just then. Baba's 77 not out, looking particularly strong, isn't he? England are in a bit of trouble here. Pakistan could mount a pretty good score here, and they put some pressure on the England batsmen. And better than what the West Indies did. The Australians did against West Indies, which was awful. I'm just going to update something here. Let's have a look here. Details of this. All right. So just looking at the records here of the way that so England have scored, Pakistan have scored 38 runs in the last 5 overs, 7.6, which is a brilliant effort. Certainly is a brilliant effort. I'm just going to pull that total of. So ask me a question, guys. I'm waiting for your questions. Your thoughts on adding 2 new teams to the next IPL? Well, I guess it's okay as long as they can fit it in time-wise. The time's already blown out quite a bit. I think that you were probably looking at with a Gujarat team and a Pune team. That's what's going to happen. Well, that's about the limit they'll be able to go to, but that's probably where it'll sit. Yeah, okay. It'll switch the time frame up. Royal Challengers Bangalore. If Maxwell plays with De Villiers and Kohli, they've got a great chance. I'm just not sure whether it's going to happen now. Just programming a bit of stuff there. $181 live. Okay. Other questions? We have an interesting situation there with, let's look what's going on here. So Dan Christian's coming on a Zoom later on today. We're interested to see what he has to say. Need to make sure we get that sorted out. I mean, Chris Gale, what a performance! Seriously, what a performance by Chris Gale. You have to give it to Chris Gale. Give credit to Chris Gale for his performance today. 67 with 7 sixes, and he didn't have off rubbish. He hit them off a combination of Riley Meredith and Hazelwood at full tonk. West Indies best 11 for the Shuman Raj. Hello. Okay. West Indies best 11 for the T20. Well, and 4 fours. That's correct. Well, I actually would put Gale as open. That's just my thoughts. But I'd have Chris Gale as the opener. And I have him opening with, Lendl Simmons was there, but they also were without another opener. Who was the other opener that was out? There's another West Indies opener that was out at the moment. Another gun opener who's out. I can't remember his name. It wasn't Fletcher. It wasn't Lendl Simmons. There's another opener that's been is out at the moment who's a gun opener. Evan Thompson, Evan Lewis and Gale should open up and perhaps have we got Hetmeyer as well. Puro needs to be in there. Pollard needs to be in there. There you got an incredible top five there, was right there. And then you've got like Pollard, Bravo, and Andre Russell. That makes it 8. And then 9, you could have anywhere like McCoy. You could have the spinner there, the leg spinner they had that we bowled fantastically. And you could have, Cottrell. There's an incredible 11, actually. There's a whole selection. Yes, they are. People will let them. When we keep saying that, but we're going to say they're going to outdo you. We'll cut top 4 teams of your choice to win this year. I've already mentioned it a few times, Sheldon and Raj. West Indies, India, England. It's West Indies, India, England. And a 4th one would be probably New Zealand. West Indies, India, England, and West Indies, New Zealand. 5 would be Pakistan. 6, South Africa /7, Australia, and 8, perhaps Sri Lanka. 9, Afghanistan and beyond. Yeah, Pakistan will certainly be up there. Probably 5th in my ranking at the moment, but they're still pretty up there. Quite incredible, really. Pakistan will certainly go well. It certainly will go well. In the UAE, of course, it's like their home ground. So, again, India, England, West Indies, New Zealand, Pakistan. That's your top 5. Then you've got to consider Australia and South Africa and Sri Lanka coming in 8th. That's the way. I can't see Australia going high. The way they're playing at the moment, I don't deserve to be any higher than that. Shocking. So we're going to get Munchy maybe tomorrow. So just let me look at the situation with the Sri Lankans. Apparently are out there. New Zealand have no spinner. That's true. That could affect them on that pitch, but yeah, that could be the problem. That may put them out of the top 4 and put Pakistan in. I didn't get that. Sorry, what didn't you get? The top 4. Top 4. AB guns. Is that what you wanted? They're joking about the old people's home. Is that what you're thinking? So, India, England, West Indies, New Zealand, and Pakistan. There's your top 5. Then 6, South Africa, 7, Australia, 8, Sri Lanka, 9, probably Afghanistan, and 10, the rest. Bangladesh, perhaps. Yes, there's quite a few interesting selections there. Just wanted to see who we've got there. Banstead tagged to me. What do you mean? I'm not sure what you. I didn't get what you're talking about. Just seems to me to be a lot of movement going on regarding. I'm just looking at the scores, but with clearly Pakistan, when Buzz Azam is firing, and he is the top 4 or 5 batters in the world, there's no doubt about that. He's proving it today. He's now on 87 not out with Mohammad Razam. He's there 2 for 182 after 34. They're looking like it's going to score a pretty good score to me. So you certainly can't knock performance there of the side. So Chris should be available for an Aussie and a Pom free Pom special. When is this bench that work? Tell me when. When are you saying that is? Kushal Butel Bank. That no. Who is that? I'm not aware of that name. That name is new to me. Tell me who you're talking. Okay, you give it to me, but I don't know, how can you give it to me when I'm going to give it to you? Sri Lanka, England have been smashed by Italy in a soccer match. Looks like Pakistan smashing England now. And your predictions of West Indies losing are wrong also. Nepalese better. No, I haven't seen him. No, I haven't. No. If you want to make it tomorrow, we can do it. That's the way you let me. You confirm with Chris what's going on. Yeah, I can imagine that's a fair call. Save it. He was nominated for the ISIS. He just played them. Okay, I didn't know that. So the Sri Lankans are playing with COVID all over the place. Sri Lankan practice with COVID umpires, I'll call it. Interesting enough. Okay. Why India don't perform well in ICC knockouts under Kohli captaincy was only a better limited over captain for India. I don't. You look at Kohli's record. We've just gone through it. The Test performance, best ever for India. Top 3 or 4 in the world, only behind the likes of, as I said before, really the best captain was Steve Waugh. Ponting and Border kind of in there with Chris Law, Clive Lloyd, and Kohli. And Williamson's floating around there as well. While Williamson deserved it, he's won the World Cup, a World Test Championship at least. No, he can't be called a good captain, Banks boy. He has a 59% rating. He's won 36 Test matches as a Test captain. He's a gun Test captain. Kohli is proven statistically to be the reason why India of number 1 captain for India ever statistically by far, especially Test cricket. And the short term only may have been slightly better, but T20 will have to be Kohli again because he's been one of the best batters in the world. Now, be careful with what we're saying there regarding those people. Could see how much the players love playing for that's true, and they even like playing for Rahane. But you'd argue that Kohli's record has been one of great, aggressive leadership, and it's actually worked. So you can't knock him. The way Bubba Azam's going, he'll be on 100 before too long. All right. No more questions for me, guys? I'm considering having an early night. The numbers haven't been great. So. Okay. Aggressive leadership, agreed, but not loved. No, that's fair comment. I don't think all captains have been loved necessarily. Okay. Vasanth's got a question here. Vasan, nice to have you back. Kohli has a good record in India. His overseas record is terrible, and we should stop blindly appreciating him. Well, no one's blindly appreciating him. The fact is, he has. You have to look at how many wins a person has, and he has had a pretty good performance. Can't be disgraceful what he's done. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with. It's not a poll of who's been loved or not. Steve Orr had his moments when he wasn't necessarily loved either. No, you have to get players playing for you. You're right. No, okay, I accept all that, but you can't knock Kohli's record. You cannot knock Kohli's record. Yeah, you do think players playing for. There is a problem at the moment, but hopefully with the team of Pujara, Rahane, and Kohli and Test and the likes of Sharma and the shorter forms, you will find a bit more harmony there. Yeah, there's a lot of comments here about the Sri Lankans are out in the field with their masks on and their umpires have masks on. The advent of the whole COVID-19 disaster, certainly that. Willem is head and shoulder. He's got a record of 59.45 as opposed to 59.1, so he's ahead slightly. It is true. That's why they won the World Test Championship. We need that bit of aggression, though. I saw Rahane getting players under his huddle. No, that's true. I have to admit that's the case. I have to agree. Yes, I think they should. Absolutely should think they should. Why are we losing to them? I don't know. All right. How are we going, guys? Yeah, it hasn't been the most impressive of nights in terms of cricket. We've got Pakistan at the moment. Let's have a look at Pakistan doing. Babar Azam not at 92. Mohammad Rizwan at 35. Pakistan now 2 for 200. Okay, Barnes said, boy, take care. Everyone hope to see you soon. Okay, nowadays Keshu's not joining you. Hitesh Basbasi is your friend. He has his own program, which he does his music on. He can't do both. I can't do both. Well, I watched the 100 rather reservedly. Siddharth is busy. He's got work assignments to do. Otherwise he would be on. And same with a lot of people are busy with other work assignments. All right. Babar Azam has just hit his century. Babar Azam is 101 not out. Pakistan 2 for 204 in their 37th over, looking towards a fairly big score here. Quite impressive, guys. In fact, we might think about stopping the show here and letting everybody watch that, because it must be pretty damn exciting to watch that. Yes, I do watch you, Richard. Reg, I've heard you. Yes, come on, for sure. Okay. But we have been scoring under best. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a century of Babar Azam. That's phenomenal. Imam Al-Haq got 56. Fakar, who they've been relying on, only got 6, but Muhammad Razan was one still to come in. That's great. Great to see. Australian team is in deep trouble after Howell Western went. Absolutely. They're a mess. They badly picked to start with. It was predictable. Who do you think will shine the most in the debut in the Indian side against Sri Lanka? Oh, there'll be a lot of I just think that there'll be a whole host of them. Ishan Kishan, of course, Shreyas Iyer, if he gets to play, not Shreyas Iyer, sorry, Sky, Kumar, absolutely, quite a few. Yeah, you have to say, because he just got a century, a big one, in Birmingham against England, 102 not out, and it's off. It's literally a run a ball. Brilliant effort. The ultra aggressive out culture brought this. Yeah. 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 Zindabar. Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. It's a great effort. A lot of good play there. All right, guys. We might call it, unless you're not got any more questions for me, we might call it quits there. But again, interesting about the Indian stats, especially the players. I was truth, they scored 102 runs not out. Rizwan 36. Ireland were 5 for 290. South Africa currently 258. South Africa need 233 runs off 37 overs. West Indies women beat the Pakistan women quite convincingly. And obviously the West Indies smashed Australia in the third, made it 3-0. Why was going to die? Absolutely, West Indies are in the top 3 teams. Definitely. Huge potential. Huge potential. I have a sense is injured and might not be in the T20 World Cup. No, no. He wants to. He doesn't want the pressures of being in the World Cup when he wants to keep himself for the Test matches. I don't think it's based on an injury. I think it's just based on he believes he's playing too much. We prefer to rest out of the World Cup. That's his decision. Maybe it's a way of telling him that he doesn't want to play. Who knows what's going on there? It's a disaster. Quite a disaster. All right, guys. We'll call it quits there. It's Norman Costa again. Eyes on Cricket. You've got my Twitter handle and my so-called Instagram. Don't forget to view, like, and share those. If you're not subscribing, please subscribe, because I don't really think it's much fun having people watch without subscribing. It doesn't take more than a second to subscribe. If you're watching now and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Last week, that's why I've already talked about that. What's your India T20 World Cup 11? I think I've talked about this already a few times, but it's got to be quite firm. Rohit Sharma with Kohli would have both, I'd say, Sky, Kumar in there. You got Kohli, and he would have, depending on where you play, what's his name, the keeper? Okay, let me go through it. Rohit Sharma, Kohli, Sky, Kumar, Ishan Kishan could well be in there as well. Then you'd have the likes of, you've got to think Punt would be up there somewhere. Very similar side that played in the last match against England is what I would pick. Number 4 debate. Well, Ishan Kishan and Sky Kumar can mix up between the two of them. One of them two will take the spot. I think if Virat does open, it looks like he will open. That's what his kind of plan is, isn't it? All right, guys. Any more questions? If not, we're going to go. The Virat Kohli's record is stupendous. We shouldn't forget that. All right, guys. I might go. This is Norman Kochnick signing off. See me tomorrow. We'll have Barnstead Boy, which is Richard Vernon. We'll have Chris on as well. We'll have Munchie. We'll have other people on as well. So good luck to you all. Take care and sleep well. Norman Kochnick is signing off.